Mr. Cliff Prang, everybody.
That's Sam Tonning, and I really like him. I find it easier to compliment people than to say what you really think about them. Sam is handsome. My name is Clifford, and I am a dad, as was mentioned, and you can see that already. You look at me like, that is a dad. He is wearing slacks. And his soul is dead. So, exactly. And I am a stay-at-home father. That's what I do. People say, how's the comedy career? You're a professional. How's it going? I'm like, I'm a stay-at-home dad. That's how it's going. And it's a simple job. It's an easy job. Just do a ton of laundry and day drinking. So, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. There's two objectives that a parent has. Job number one is to keep the kid alive. You got to keep them alive. Food, water, don't let them run with scissors, basic stuff, keep them alive. Job number two is to raise a good kid, a nice kid. A lot of entitled little jerks running around that I would like to kick in the nose. Like all of my children's friends, I'd like to kick them, but you go to jail when you do that. I haven't found that out firsthand, but I'd like to do that. But hey, first, not a lot of parents in the room. I felt that already earlier when Julie was talking. Not a lot of parents in the room. But hey, if for some reason, someday, you happen to spawn one of these terrible children, one of these agents of Lucifer, by no fault of your own, if you do that, maybe objective number one becomes a little less critical. You know what I'm saying? Maybe next time little Damien is jumping on the trampoline with a mouthful of marbles, you just let it play out, you know? See what happens. Let go and let God. That's, but ultimately you want to achieve both goals. But kids are dumb. It's been mentioned. They are dumb. I have hangers and hooks in my house, and I find their clothes on the floor. I'm like, why are your clothes on the floor? They're like, I don't know. We have a hamper, and I find dirty underwear. It's happened more than once in the kitchen, where our food goes. I'm like, why are your underwear in the kitchen? They're like, I don't know. We have a garage, and I find their bikes in the driveway in the rain. I'm like, why? And they're like, I don't know. And you're like, Cliff, you got 3 kids, man. Have you never heard of birth control? I'm like, I don't know. I heard my daughter say to one of her friends, she's like, my dad is so dumb. And as a father, that hurt me emotionally, hurt my feelings. But as a comedian, I was like, how dumb is he? She's like, my dad is so dumb that he hasn't read a book in over a year. I'm like, that's not funny. It's true, but it's not funny. It's not how comedy works. There's never much truth involved. Then she went on to say, it's like, I read books every day, but the only thing that my dad reads are his joke notes to help him remember the words of the jokes that he wrote himself. And then she said, and then she went on to say, and that's why Mom makes more money than you. She's a terrible child. I wrote that joke just so I could have an excuse to read my notes. It's pretty clever, actually, really smart, smarter than my daughter. She's an idiot. And she doesn't have good hygiene. Let's just say that about her. I think this is being filmed, so she's probably going to watch it someday and leave me, which is what the goal is in the first place. So, I've been married for 19 years. Julie was like 5 years. I'm like, shut up. Who cares? Amateur. I'm really. It's hard. Marriage is hard. 19 years. A lot has changed. Julie, it's going to change for you. When I first got married, my wife was like, Clifford, you're my everything. And now she's like, Cliff, you're all I got left. And if you think about it, she's actually saying the same thing. So I take it as a compliment. Someone came up to me and was like, man, you're married, man. Do you not notice hot chicks anymore? You don't notice them? Like, yeah, no, I do notice them, but I also notice that my divorced friends are struggling financially, so yeah. I'm committed. Yeah, she makes more money than me. I put the money back in monogamy, so... Monogamy. 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 No, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm gonna lure one of you astray. You're gonna try and take me home. I'm like, no, I can't afford for you to take me home. Can't afford it. So yeah, no, at first it's like, yo, I'm married. I'm not dead. But now I'm like, yeah, I'm married. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. She'll kill me. And I'll starve on the streets by myself. Speaking of death, I do a lot of dad jokes, and I made a resolution this year. I'm going to do more dead jokes. That's what I want to do. My mom. Your response has filled my heart with so much joy. It couldn't have been any better. My mom is not dead. But if you would react that way, if she was, I would change the story. My mom had a heart attack. Was that you? That's that? Same. Your mom had a heart attack? I'm sorry. It's different. It's different when I'm saying it as a comedian with a microphone, but then when an audience member yells it out, you're like, I feel compelled as a father to make sure you're doing okay. Are you okay? Okay. It doesn't look like it. It's okay. Are you comforting her? Are you being a good example? Are you guiding her through this difficult time? Okay. That's good. Yeah, no, my mom had a heart attack, and it's totally terrible. It's a horrible thing because I was not planning on visiting her this year. So I don't know if you've ever tried to book flights to Ottawa the night before travel, but it is really expensive. I went. I'm not a bad kid. I love my mom. I want to care for her. It's just that she didn't want me to take care of her. She didn't want that. Right? She's a smoker and she's a coffee drinker and she wasn't allowed to do any of those things. And I got her some decaffeinated beans. Like, Mom, I got you some decaffeinated beans because I love you. I want to see you survive longer. I want you to survive. And she's like, do you think I'm an idiot? Do you think I'm an effing idiot? And she poured herself a giant cup of coffee. And I said, I do now. And I lit her a cigarette. So I'm like, let's get this over with. My sisters were like, Cliff, are you going to come home for Mom's 70th birthday? I'm like, first of all, after I've paid off the first flight, no, I've got to save up for the funeral. So it's like, you don't want to laugh and you don't want to smile, but you understand what I'm talking about. Very much. You hate her, do you? You hate her? What's that? Oh. Yeah. I regret starting that conversation. I remember, I hope she's in heaven. I know for a fact it's fine. She's with the people she loves. Not me. This is so awkward, I know. This is the problem with committing to dead jokes. It ruins comedy shows. But it's so beautiful you guys are still laughing because what I've learned is empathy and comedy don't mix. That's true. Okay. But anyway, my mom, they would smoke all the time, and I remember being hotboxed in the car as a child on the way to church. Like, my dad would be rolling his own cigarettes on the dashboard, putting the drum tobacco in the white paper. I accidentally licked the microphone, heads up to the rest of the comics. And then he'd be lighting it as we were driving and inadvertently be changing lanes as we're going through, and we'd on purpose have to change our pants. And I don't know if he thought because we're going to church, if we crash, at least we were going to heaven, or if even we ended up in hell, at least he'd finally be able to light his freaking cigarette. But we get to church, the door flies open, plumes of billowing cancer. You've heard the term holy smokes. That's where it comes from. And you know the Dutch, right? They're known for their windmills and their wooden shoes and their nicotine-stained children. The doctor thought I had jaundice, and this was just Demorier Light right here. Because I didn't sleep in a crib as a child. I slept in an ashtray, so it was a good thing. I personally can't wait till I get older. That's the thing that I'm hoping for. Can't wait. I can't wait to say to my kids, Daddy's hungry, you feed Daddy. I can't wait to say, you come wrestle me to put on my PJs. These are the words I'm so excited to say. I'm so excited to say, Daddy did a duty. Daddy did a duty. It's fun to say. You should try it. You should just go home and say that to one another. It's weird. It's a weird thing to say. And that's the hardest part of parenting. Hands down, it's the bum wiping. That's why they call it child rearing, guys. That's why my wife is making corn the other night. I'm like, no! Not the corn! I'm gonna have to see that. I don't want to see that. What's the science behind the corn not breaking down? Maybe Ford should make their trucks out of corn. Yeah. I have no issue with Ford. Just won't buy one because they're terrible. That's all. That's my only issue. I actually thought I was having a heart attack not that long ago. I was lying in my bed and I had chest pain so intense and I felt tingling in my arm. I'm like, this is definitely a heart attack, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know, should I wake up my wife? Do I call the ambulance? Or do I just lie here and die? Because I'm like, if there's ever a chance that I could feel this kind of pain again, I would rather not ever experience that. So that's what I chose. That's what I chose. I decided that I would just lie there and die. And as I waited for the darkness to envelop me, I felt a little gurgle in my body. I'm like, could this be gas? Could I be having gas so bad that I think I'm having a heart attack? So I got up and I Googled gas so bad that you think you're having a heart attack, and there were pages and pages of chat forums. Because I had a Costco hot dog and 7-Up that day. Do not do that after 40. That is not, don't do that. So I did a little, and then I did a little, and I felt better. So I went back to bed and I proceeded to deflate for the rest of the night. The pressure would build, and then it'd deflate. I was like an accordion, and our room smelled like a Polish man had died. Woke up the next morning, and which was surprising because the air was toxic. And my wife was like, oh my God, what happened in here? What? And I explained to her the situation. Honey, I didn't know whether to wake you or whether to die. And she said, Clifford, please wake me up. I would rather watch you die than wake up and find you dead. I would rather watch you die than wake up and find you dead. You know what that is, Vancouver? You know what that is? That's love. And someday I hope you can find that same kind of love. You guys have a good night. Thanks so much.
Daddy did a duty. I like it. Oof, it sounds worse when I say it, though. Hey, Cliff Prang, everybody. Give it up for him again.